Hello, welcome to the part B of this series. I wasn't looking at having a part A and part B in today's live section, but um, we had network challenges, so the first one ended, and so we are continuing. If you're here, thank you for continuing with us and with me. All right. So I was talking about the discomforts from the the discomfort with regards to breastfeeding, or I was talking about the challenge of discomfort before the first stream ended, and we'll have to start with this one. So there are going to be lots of discomforts in the postpartum period from the mom, um, from her body trying to get um, trying to adjusting to the pregnancy hormones that are wearing off, to the new hormones, prolactin and what have you, that is setting in or that is functioning at full maximum in the postpartum period, um, with the hunger pangs, with the um, loss of sleep, especially at night, because the babies would refuse to lie on any other thing except her body. And all of that. Now, how do you overcome this challenge or this discomforting challenge as a couple? Number one, for the man, you would not go through this physical discomfort with your wife, but your understanding and staying close and filling in the gaps would go a long way in helping your wife not just come out of the discomfort, but come out unbroken. What I mean by unbroken is there are some women who would tell you that they were traumatized after they had a particular baby because of the behavior of the people around them. And if you are a man listening to me, your behavior towards your wife can help her come out of the postpartum period a better wife or otherwise. Okay. As humans, the people who or the person who was there for us in our lowest moments often means the most important to us. Even while we're in the middle of that challenge or at the end of it. And so as a man, you really want to be that person who is there for your wife in those moments of discomfort. And for you as the wife who is going through this discomfort, you need to understand that the man with you may not understand fully what these discomforts are about and how they affect you. So your number one responsibility is to speak out. Your number one role is to speak out. Please do not pack up or do not be yelling when the other person does not even understand what it is that is going on. All right. So you are like, shouldn't you understand that this is happening? And the man is like, I don't understand the hell what is going on. All right. So if you have not been communicating well, this is the time to do that. And for you, man, do not think that the mom is there, there is food in the house, she lacks nothing. So what's more? For crying out loud, she's a postpartum mom because you got her pregnant. And some of the discomfort she's going through are not things she expected or not things she's happy with. Nobody is comfortable going through physical pain. All right. Nobody is comfortable going through physical pain. All right. So if you are the spouse, please can you sometimes you can ask the gentle question, how may I help you? What do you want me to do? What can I do to make this easier for you? I mean, yeah, you can. All right. And don't assume the next person can do that. Don't assume once the mother comes, the mother should be able to do that, or whoever it is that is doing your mugo for your wife or whatever. Before and after omugo, you wear. So can you maintain your presence? All right. Okay. So the new challenge, the new common challenge we'll be talking about is new expectations. Yeah. Um, the husband is thinking, I expect you to know this, I expect you to know how to do this. That's why you're a woman. The woman is saying, I expect you to know this, that's why you're the head. And the expectations are causing troubles between the couple. Or sometimes the baby is crying in the middle of the night. The man is like, I expect you to know that when the baby is crying at night, you should carry the baby. And the man is like, I expect you to know that when the baby is crying in the mouth, the baby is hungry, and you should put the baby to breast so that everybody can sleep peacefully and all of that and all of that. The expectations are high depending on who is people. For some persons it's different. Okay, it may not be the man wanting the woman to breastfeed all through the night so that the baby will not disturb every other person's sleep. It could be in different dimension. But what I want you as a couple to understand is that having a child is not the reason for your should not be a reason for conflict between the two of you. Now, if that starts happening, it means that there are some loose areas in your interactions or in your relationship as a couple that you should really start talking about and giving attention to. All right. So, what's the next common challenge is accommodating older children. It's common when a new child comes and the older child comes around or starts wanting attention. Everybody be like, you should know that is a new child. Your turn has gone. Your turn has passed. You are now you are now Igbo will say Itogonwa, you are now a big brother or a big sister and all of that. Come on. The child doesn't understand those. For all they care, they've had all their attention before now. So why is someone very little and very small now commanding everybody's attention and all of that? Please do not be in that position where you're telling the child you are now a bigger brother or a bigger sister and you should not be behaving in this way or in that way and all of that. Um that could actually be you. That could actually be you breeding sibling rivalry that can blossom into an Iroko 3 that you will not be happy with. Because once we start saying that, chances are that even when the new one is still growing, we want the older one to always deflate to satisfying the younger one. Also, we always want the older one to understand that at all times, because he's older, he should always accommodate the excesses of the younger one. So you want to get it right with accommodating the older children. Sometimes, when you can, carry the younger one and the other one at the same time. Your responsibility should be that of fostering cohesion between the two of them and not making one feel less important because the other one is because a new child has come. So that perceived maturity that we want them to get to simply because there's a younger child around doesn't work, and it's actually not in anybody's um favor, especially that of the older child. Now, I mentioned that it was supposed to be five common challenges, postpartum challenges, but in the course of my finalizing this story, I realized there was another very important one that we needed to talk about, and that is the challenge of losing touch with others and what matters to us or isolation. Now, it's common thing for mothers or fathers to say, since my husband is misbehaving, let me focus my attention and my love on my child. Or the man will say, since my wife is misbehaving, let me focus my attention and my affection for my child, for my children. Hello, that's a challenge that you need to deal with. Your wife is your wife, your husband is your husband. Your child is what they are to the both of you. All right. So at any point where you feel you can switch your attention, your affection, your time to your spouse or to your child at the expense of your at the expense of your spouse. You're switching your attention and your affection to your child at the expense of your spouse. It's a challenge that the two of you need to deal with as soon as is possible. All right. So the fact that your communication now becomes either that of somebody shutting down or the other person raging like wildfire, it means that if you look back, okay, if you look back, it's either the two of you haven't been in communication, probably because of distance or for whatever reason, but the child is now trying to tell the two of you to work on this before I grow up so I don't come into the mess that your lack of communication would bring. Okay. So instead of losing touch with your spouse, it is time to reconnect. And that's why the Progress Hub of the Extended Parent Academy that will be starting in February next year is one place that you want to be in. Is one place that you want to be in. It's specifically for married couples. It's going to run for 4 months. So we're going to have three sections of it in 2025 starting in February. But for each of the batches, it's going to run for 4 months. So these are some of the things that you need to settle. Why? These are things that you should have settled. Communication issue is something you should have settled before the child comes in, before the child comes on board, but probably because you weren't given the opportunity to actually discover that there's a challenge with your communication or something. Now the child is here and you feel it's the child causing it. No, the child didn't cause it. The child doesn't even have the capacity to. It's been there, just like it's been latent, or it was ignored. All right. So that is one part of the losing touch I wanted to talk about. Another part is losing touch with people, especially people that matter to you, or people that mean most to you. Um, um, One thing I tell people is that pregnancy, parenting is not something that should be done in isolation. It should be done in a community of people with similar values and interests with you. And fortunately, that's why we also run the early years parent coaching program, which is for parents who are within the ages, who have children within the ages of 0 to 6. All right. The challenges within this period, the wins and all of that is very similar. And so that's why we are focusing on 0 to 6. These are the foundational years that if you maximize as a parent, the following years will not be as troublesome or will not be as challenging for you as someone who didn't do any of the foundational things um, within 0 to 6. Okay, so we run the Preggies of for expectant parents, expectant couple, and we also run the early years parent coaching program for parents with children aged 0 to 6. Okay, so the annual fee for 2025 from January to December is 60,000 naira only. I'm not sure you get it anywhere. In fact, you wouldn't get it anywhere at that price. And with the age specific tools and webinars and materials that you'll be giving from January to December. All right. So you want to be there. You want to be there. Whichever of these two that applies to you, or you are expectant or you will be expecting in 2025, or you have children age 0 to 6 and you have no idea what to do with your child, come on board the early years parent coaching program. And you'll be glad you did. All right. So what the program will also provide for you is a community of parents who have children within the same age range as yours and who are working towards similar things that you are also working with at the moment. All right. So another thing that we lose touch with is personal development. And this is more for women. This is more for women. Once a child starts coming, or once the children starts coming, you're like, what's the point of continuing this program I'm doing? Or what's the point of pushing in this business? Or what's the point in doing this or doing that? Now, let me let you understand that to the extent you allow yourself to be developed as a parent, whether a mother or a father, is the extent to which your children will be impacted. I mean, how about being that parent whose child reads because simply because they see mommy or daddy reading? How about becoming that parent um whose children are better simply because they've seen mommy or daddy doing this? Children become impacted by the habits that they see their children with, that they see their parents while growing up. So if you're that parent who abandoned maybe an academic program, or maybe their impact journey, or maybe their business, or who abandoned something, or who abandoned a part of their personal development because of their children. Now, I said abandon. Abandoning and shifting is not the same thing. Okay? They are not the same thing. Abandoning is like you quit because you can't continue. These are two different things. There are mothers who were working while they were pregnant, but by the time the child comes, they are in that situation where nobody can take over looking after their children. And then they decide to delay continuing official work until a certain age, until their children get to a certain age. And oftentimes, those kind of parents, those kind of mothers, they are not just idle staying at home. They are doing a lot of things at the same time while giving attention to to their children or their family. So the point I'm trying to make is that quitting your personal development because the children are there is not a wise idea. Now, how do you solve this as a couple? Like I said, most times this is a challenge or this is a big thing for women. So, dear husbands, this is where you come in. How do you encourage your wife to continue? How do you encourage your wife to go on? Um, Depending on the stage where they are, what can you do? It could be that you need to spend 2 hours with them when you come back from work or when you come back from business, whatever it is you do, you sit down with them for 2 hours or something. Just be reading. Sometimes some persons, what they just want is to have someone who is reading to keep them motivated to start out. All right. So how about you, the spouse, being that person who is also sitting up and reading, so that they can follow suit? Or maybe you have to hold the child while they go read, or you have to provide a help who helps with the children while they read, or something. Okay. One thing I've come to understand is that women who continue making impact even when they are married or when they have children enjoys good support and enjoy good support from their husbands. Yeah. So if you want your wife to be the next trailblazer or the next impact maker that we are all wowing at, you have a role to play, dear husband. Okay? And for you as the wife, um, do not think that because you're married or because you have a child, you should relax and you should not take any of your personal development journey serious. Is if you're that woman, this is me talking to you. You need to stand up, dust your shoes, and start from where you stopped. However, however, this is something we should do, bearing in mind that to have a family to carry along. So it's not something you're doing in isolation or at the expense of any member of your family. And then, lastly, the most important thing we lose touch with, which I've seen as a common challenge, is losing touch with our personal values. Okay, so sometimes we feel that the values of set. For instance, if you're a person who loves God and loves the word of God, that's your value, and you want to know God via the study of his word and spending time with him. When we have when these children start coming, because they need our time and we pay attention to them, we often lose touch with the things we are doing in line with our value of knowing God. And so that part that begins to suffer. But I want you to understand that the values you set and you understand why these values were there. If you lose touch of them, to get back to them is going to take you a long while. So why the children are increasing, why the responsibilities are increasing, how do you incorporate this value or the things you do for this value into your current routine? All right. Life is not ideal anywhere. Life is not perfect anywhere. And so you need to see how to press on with the responsibilities you have while living out your values. Because you can't tell me, well, I used to be an honest person, but now that I have a child, let's suspend the honesty. When my child grows older, I can get back to it. It doesn't work because by the time your child gets older, you won't even see honesty as fashionable anymore. All right. So do not isolate yourself from your set values, especially if those values are in the right direction. Okay, especially if those values are in the right direction. Now, what I mean by what somebody could ask, what do you mean by value being in the right direction? If value is in the right direction, if it prompts you to be better or it makes you to offer more value to people around you. Okay, if a value is set to make you a better person or to make the next person a better person, then it's in the right direction. All right. So this is where we come to the end of um, our session for today on the overcoming the 5 common postpartum challenges as a couple. Now, the idea of this series is to let you understand that the things you go through, you are not alone. One thing I've come to understand is that human challenges are universal. It may be in different forms in different areas, but they are the same technically. So you don't hide in your challenge, you seek help in your challenge. And for people who for people who have children or you're pregnant or anything, these are things we like to hide. You know, we hide it and hide it so much so that we are overcome many of the times. But you can speak out. All right. So I want to believe that you've picked one or two things to work with in the moments, on the times to come, or you have a better idea of something to do or something that happened when you were in this stage that you didn't address properly. All right. And if this is your first time of joining in, thank you so much for watching through. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please kindly do so and turn on the notification bell. This is something that runs every Monday, and um you want to be around because there is so much to pick from here. Once again, I am Chioma Okoli and I am the founder of the Expectant Parent Academy. All right, one person just joined as I'm about to conclude. Thank you so much for joining in. I am grateful. Okay, so see you next week on a different topic that you'll be happy you listen to. All right, thank you and do have an amazing day.